Alright folks, turn 35, there was a battle in Quedra. Let's look at it. So we stormed the throne. Over here you can see all the enemy troops lined up. Our arrows start coming in. The vampires fly over, and they land right here around our light Bandar archers, which is perfect. That's where I wanted them to be. The other Bandar archers immediately start shooting arrows at them. And honestly, the arrows start doing a pretty decent amount of damage. Meanwhile, we get our blessing off, our divine blessing. And the Azrapas and the Ganas start going in. Now, we're dropping banishments on the vampires, unfortunately. Vampires have much better magic resistance than our Ganas, so I think the banishments are more likely to get friendly fire than anything. And yeah, you can see there they actually did get friendly fire on some of our Ganas. Kind of unfortunate. However, we are doing damage to the vampires. Some of them are decaying now because they've been hit by the withering weapons. And we managed to chew them up pretty well. Meanwhile, our garbage chaff chews through the enemy's garbage chaff pretty effectively as well. And then after a little while, we actually do get a cast of Bloodlust off script. So all of our demons get that +4 strength, which makes Azrapas extremely scary. And our troops pour forward, finish off the last of the enemy soulless that the vampire was summoning, and send the last of the enemy troops running for the hills. In terms of casualties, a lot of casualties. We lost 9 Azrapas, and no Palankashas. So really, we had about 9 casualties that mattered. And then beyond there, we lost a lot of long dead. We did lose some of our light Bandar archers, about half of them all told. A little bit, actually less than half. Half would be about 17, 19. And a whole bunch of trash chaff that we don't care about. 88 casualties out of our 358. We wiped out the enemy army, and a few units retreated. So, unfortunately, this is actually the Throne of Pestilence. It's not the Throne of Death, so that's sad. But it's still 3 death gems per turn. I think I am still going to claim it. I know it'll give me death +1, but it's late enough in the game that those scales are less meaningful than they were at the beginning. And I really want to have 3 death gems per turn. That would be really nice. I would love to have that. I want more death. I want more death gems. I want higher level death magic. I want all sorts of things related to death. I want DMX actually to be forging some stuff as well. He needs to move to claim that throne, but also, honestly, I could use Skull Mentors because my research is still not good. It's not nearly as bad as it used to be, but it's not good. But what I'm going to have DMX do is I'm going to have DMX forge a Skull Staff real quick. That'll boost him up to Death 5, and then once I hit Construction 6, he can forge a Skull Face. And if my Death Gem income is high enough at that point, then I'll be in with a shot for some of the high-level death spells. I would need to research Conjuration down to level 8 in order to get Well of Misery, which I may actually never do in this entire game, even assuming I live to that point of the game. Right now I'm focusing on Alteration. My research is starting to reach a point that might be minimally acceptable, but really I would like to have like 600 to 800 research points per turn at this point, and I'm taking a while to get there. But we will get there. So this army, Damrite and Stainless Steel plus their other troops are moving out. Pollux is also sneaking off into Stysian lands. Vano is going to stand here to defend. The non-stop pop will site search and then move out. I've got you motherfucker down here. I've bleeped that out just in case for some reason YouTube doesn't like having that on screen, which is always possible. And we're starting to deploy the Sanguine Dowsing Rods, so our blood hunting yield should be starting to spike. Devasura should come up to there, and Asita should come up over there. Still churning out Atavi Chieftains for use as scouts, and we're still building up some Atavi Archers up there as well. We've got 20 of them. Actually, to be honest, I'm now going to start sneaking them over to Sitis. Fort is under construction there. Okay, I don't think they'll catch me, but I'll just sneak on through and reach Sitis. Yeah, quite well organized. That should be fine. That shouldn't be really patrolling. And we've stopped recruiting more Atavi Archers here, because I just want to get the Atavi Chieftains out. Over here, recruiting a Yogini, and we are going to need to deploy some actual combat magic for the first time. So I need that Alteration research. I need at least Alteration 4 or 5. Wooden Warriors would be very, 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 very nice for me. I would love that. As would Swarm. Swarm would also be very nice, and potentially some Earth spells as well. Although, of course, I don't have any actual Earth mages over there to do anything. All of my Earth mages are wandering around site searching and such. But let's get these two guys moving in that direction. It will take them a while to get there, so we might as well start now. So we'll start moving over there. I do not want them trying to go through Agenor, so they're going to have to go down around this way. So it's going to take them a lot of turns, a number of turns, unfortunately. Beyond that, I don't think I have any good things you could forge. Actually, I could have you forge winged shoes. That kind of mobility could be super, super useful for me. I have 49 air gems right now. I also really want enchantment 6 for Aerofend. So I can already cloud trapeze. That's useful, but having Aerofend active would also be really handy. And that could also enable me to reanimate Z's, which are good siege units. They're not good fighting units, but they're good siege units. And I could at some point get Mass Flight active, because an Air 3 can cast Mass Flight with 3 air gems. It's just gonna be a hot minute. We're just gonna have to wait a little bit. Blood 4 is where I'm gonna kind of sit and wait for a little while. That gives me Storm Demons, Rakshasa Warriors, and Bloodlust. I would love to get down to level 6 to get Dakini. Actually, yeah, Blood level 6 is probably what I want to do after I go down Alteration a little ways. Alteration 6... give me Soul Vortex, but no, I'm gonna cut that. We're gonna go Alt 5 and then Blood 6. And get some Dakini out. My blood, as I said, my blood slave income should be spiking. Cormark is reaching down into population levels where it won't be efficient to blood hunt anymore. So in a few turns, I'm probably going to mass migrate my blood hunters up to Hobergdorf, where they can start ripping the hell out of this province. It's a lot of income to lose, but blood slaves are more important than money. Iprisia has a number of turns left in it. Saboria has a number of turns left in it. Bergamum has a number of turns in it for us to exploit. And then Wick Forest can likewise be burnt down for a number of turns. As can Quedra. Quedra can also be burnt down for quite some time. But it's gonna take a slightly longer chain to get the blood slaves from Quedra back to my provinces. So, I'm gonna need more blood hunters and more sanguine dowsing rods and also more research. Those are all kind of contradictory goals, unfortunately. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start actually recruiting... No, I need the Yoginis up front. Over here, I'll start recruiting Raktapatas, and then in here I'm recruiting a Yogini. No, make it Raktapatas. Just start pumping out some Raktapatas. I know they aren't as good for research, but it's what I need. It is absolutely what I need. I am also going to need to build a fort here to defend my throne, because that's just what you have to do with thrones. So I'll need to save up a little bit of money for that, which I might have some trouble getting, but we'll see what we can do. I think I can manage to get a fort up there in sometime in the next few turns. And like I said, I will claim it just because I want the death gems. And we will start our war against New Satis within a couple of turns here. I'm going to contact Mechlin and Shuniyama again, make sure we're all good to go, and we can go in and start fighting them before turn 40, hopefully. So, that'll be the plan. Thanks for watching. I'm really glad I got that throne. I still have troops there. Actually, I may go in and start fighting them turn 37, 36, 37. That could also work. Summoning some more Asrapas, binding a Storm Demon up there. People patrolling. Lemric is preaching to get my Dominion over here. Unfortunately, it's still neutral order / turmoil, which is sad, but we'll just see what we can do. So, thanks for watching. See y'all on turn 35. I'm sorry, turn 36. Okay, it's turn 36, and we are going in. We got 10 death gems in payment for that. Thistle Mace we forged for Soromacia. We had Alteration level 3, which isn't the goal, but we're close. Didn't find any magic sites, but that's fine. Our blood hunting, you can see, is already spiking. With the addition of Sanguine Dowsing Rods, blood hunting becomes very, very powerful. Even here in Cormark, where we are now below 4,000 population, the blood hunting is still intense and very, very valuable. Now, all of these Long Dead are going to join Mort's little black parade here. He is just gonna go off with him. Sid Sheku can handle the patrols here for the moment. He's got 80 patrollers, that's fine. Mort, actually no, Sid Sheku has 80 undead. Mort has more total units. Sid Sheku is gonna head northward. Fun fact Fun fact, Soulless actually have surprisingly high map move, as do Long Dead. So, like, map move 16, higher than most humans, high enough to cross 2 provinces cleanly. So, Long Dead reinforcements, faster than you think. You motherfucker over here is just going to search for magic sites real quick, before I then head up this way, site searching as he goes. The non-stop pop-pop is moving out, and our armies are collapsing onto a border province of Sitis. We're going to slam into here. Khazhador is a big province, but it is a desert province, so it likely has very few supplies. This army does take pretty significant supply usage, because Azrapas are size 3 and so consume extra supplies, and Palankashas are size 3 and gluttonous, so they consume extra supplies. So, you know, about 200 supply consumption here, but also a lot of siege strength and all kinds of good stuff. So we're moving over a lot more a bunch more Azrapas, as well as some chaff archers from Rasenna, and we're also moving over all of our sorceresses, carrying a bunch of blood slaves with them to fuel a sabbath. Now, a lot of blood slaves are needed to fuel sabbaths, so we'll do that. We have exactly enough research, just 5 research points over what we need to hit alteration level 4, which will give us Swarm. After that, we really need to rush towards level 5 to get Wooden Warriors, but that'll take a little bit of time. But this will give us Swarm, and it will give us nothing else really but Swarm. Swarm is good enough. Swarm is absolutely good enough. We also want Enchantment 5, but that's going to have to wait for now. I could also probably use a few gems. I could probably use a few nature gems. I'm not actually going to use a few nature gems, though, because we're busy with stuff. But we got this guy forging Sanguine Dowsing Rods on repeat. Devasita needs to research for this turn just because I've got my research all tuned. I can't move anybody else. But yeah, the blood hunting is definitely bearing fruit. We've got blood slaves coming out of all 4 provinces. Pretty copiously, actually. As I said, I am eventually going to need to go up to Hoburgdorf and burn that down. Wick Forest, burn that down. Quedra, I'm going to burn Quedra down. Eventually here, I'm going to start blood hunting the hell out of my forts. Because blood hunting forts is extremely efficient in terms of extracting blood slaves. It does reduce your income and recruitment by a lot, but you're a blood nation. Income becomes very secondary. Eventually you get to the point where all of your armies are just spammed out sacreds. And of course the undead. We've got 2 Kalamukas here reanimating. And the difference in reanimation between Kalamukas and Raktapatas is pretty big, to be honest. So, like, if I just look at just this guy here, if I reanimate, he can reanimate 8 soulless or 3 long dead warriors, right? We'll just set him to blood hunt. These guys can reanimate 16 soulless or 5 long dead per turn. So that's really what their niche is. And so Agama and Ara are both just standing here pumping out like 30 soulless per turn out of these corpses, and they're going to keep doing that for a while. We'll need to summon some more Mound Kings to lead those soulless, and we will have just pretty much infinite undead chaff to throw at our problems and help drown them in the rotting bodies of the dead. Mechlin has gone in against New Sitis. 370 units, primarily slaves and indies, but also has some Ozelotls and Eagle Warriors in this army. So he's got big old piles of slaves for siege chaff. In the middle, he's got actually a number of Ozelotls that he summoned, as well as a number of Eagle Warriors. And up front, he's got a little bit tougher indie chaff plus some nets. This was just a tiny bit of province defense, so it's really no problem. And the Eagle Warriors, you can see them. Do they dive in? They do dive in. And we can see his bless. Decay weapons, cold resistance, and HP +1. Not super impressive, but enough. Now, of course, Sitis's god is awake. I don't know where he's gone. Question mark. He is a dragon. He may have shapeshifted into his little old man form. But in any case, New Sitis, I do not anticipate can stop this. He's already fighting Nazca, and most of his armies are over there fighting Nazca. I don't know where Nazca's capital actually is. Should find that out, but it takes some time sometimes. And between the sandwich of Mechlin and my armies rolling in, he's not going to be able to stop us. The question that remains to be seen is who's going to end up with New Sitis itself. I think my army is actually more powerful than Mechlin's, in the sense that I have a higher ratio of really good units compared to his mostly slave chaff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got plenty of slave chaff, but I've also got, 60 some odd sacreds that I'm assembling, plus a whole bunch of Bandar, which are not terrible units, And then I have Ethereal Chaff as well. And he doesn't have magic weapons. So if it comes down to it, Mechlin and I can clash, and I think I'll win. And I think I'll take New Satis. With Divine Blessing and Rush of Strength, my Sacreds are horribly powerful. Well, not right here with Order 3 scales, but you know what I mean. Once we get up into here, they will be much more horribly powerful. And I think I'll be able to do some work. Now, Just a Lizard, if I'm looking at his scales right, doesn't actually have any order. But this province had order from Niflheim, and Just a Lizard's dominion has not yet diminished that. And over here, we're under the influence of Buttercup's dominion. Which is not really what I want, but what can you do? I need more temples. I just don't have the money for it. I am starting a palisade over here in Quedra. The nonstop pop-pop, like I said, is moving over to join the army with 24 light Bandar archers. And Utgard down here has contacted me this turn and was like, hey, just so you remember, we still have a non-aggression pact. And I was like, yeah, we do. I remember that. Just fine. And that also gives me great hope that he remembers it, because I don't want this army attacking me right now. It would be a pain in the ass. I'd have to turn my troops around. We'd have to fight a nasty, ugly, snarly war right here, which I don't want. I want an easy war up here. So that's the turn. That's about all I got. Research going fine. Well, it's still not going fine, but it's going a lot better. And we should be pretty much good to go. What happened in Tifia? He must have killed another scout. Ah, yeah, he killed a Gath scout. Okay, that's fine. Alright. Great, so that's turn 36. We'll see how Satis reacts to the invasion in turn 37. Okay, turn 38. Two big pieces of news this turn. Sarmatia sent us some gems. We need to forge them a crown of lead, if I recall correctly. Hold on, let me check my Discord real quick to make sure that's what I'm doing. Yes. Second. Because I don't have one. I do have a skull staff, which I can give to a good death mage to make them gooder and deathier. I don't actually have many good death mage. I have the non-stop pop, so I could make him death 3 with that staff, but I don't really have the research to do much with it. But in any case, the important news is A, Tianchi cast Mother Oak, so bully on him, and there was a battle in Khazhodor. So my army up against a smaller but fairly potent Satisian army, including Just a Lizard and several Sorrowmancers, spamming skeletons and protection of the grave. His bless is really irrelevant, but, so here's the thing, we got our bloodlust off, the demons went in. The frontline battle was this grindy thing, mainly Skella spam, and meanwhile, so two things were happening. In the front line, we hit his Skella spam, and pretty much just ground it out. And overall, eventually we routed. The Azrapas did a lot of work. They got well over 100 kills, so like 3 kills each. But eventually they were just taken down by masses of skeletons. That is the weakness of Azrapas. Azrapas don't have a lot of protection. And so, absent wooden warriors or similar buffs, they don't do well against huge masses of chaff, especially huge masses of undead chaff that their Athames cannot drain for healing. Meanwhile, in the back, his god jumped to the back in an effort to assassinate my mages and got completely swarmed by summoned undead, Ganas, and imps. So he didn't actually accomplish anything back here. He got, like, a few kills, but none that matter. But I did lose the battle. I lost the battle due to HP rout because my units up front were eventually just ground down by the Skella spam. So, unfortunate. We almost got through. The last few Azrapas almost broke through, but didn't quite manage to make it. We burned Just a Lizard down to about 120 hit points. So we did about 80 points of damage. If we'd had some, like, Rakshasa warriors in the back here or something, they probably could have just clubbed him to death. But, alas, we did not. So, we lose the battle. And we lost, in the process... So we lost our 48 Azrapas, whole bunch of random chaff, a Kalamuka, a Raktapata, and a Yogini. He lost not much, just chaff. He lost all his Tomb Chariots and Tomb Worms, which are kind of slow to summon but are free. So it doesn't need to worry too much about that. He didn't lose any mages, didn't lose any of his 3 Sorrowmancers, which were skill spamming, or his dragon. And then he lost a bunch of Long Dead, which once again, he just spends turns spawning. He doesn't spend any resources on it. So they're kind of like Azrapas are for me, except a little bit cheaper even. So, unexpected events, they're all negative, but none of them are very important. And in Sorrowmacia, Sorrowmacia's god woke up last turn, and he has broken out. He's got a Ring of Regeneration on this bad boy. He can cast Personal Regeneration on himself. He has fucking 300 hit points. He can cast Temper Flesh, Strength of Gaia, so that gives him the 20% regeneration, plus a little bit more prot, and he is damage resistant from the Temper Flesh, so he's basically very, very difficult to kill. And he can also cast Iron Will on himself to boost his magic resistance, and if he can get a magic resistance amulet and that Crown of Lead from me, his magic resistance will be obscene. So, that Great White Bull, very, very hard to handle. Sorrowmacia is back, baby. He is in the game. He also got some Lamias and a few whites. So Lucky Cow is kicking it old school, pushing back Pangea. It'll be fascinating to see what he does with this. In the meantime, blood hunting. Oh baby. Oh baby. Oh yeah. Oh, that's the good shit. These Sanguine Dowsing Rods are 100% making my day. I need you to just forge those forever, please. We're moving up more mages towards the front line in Rasenna. Most of our army is actually pulling back because I need to do a bunch more summoning. Some of my troops are going over here to raid Ophaleth. Just to kind of keep Satis on his toes. I anticipate he's going to move in here to take this province and dare me to try and stand and fight. I'm not going to stand and fight. We're going to fall back. We're summoning more Azrapas. We've got a few Rakshasa Warriors, which we will put in the back to guard against another dragon drop. And we're just gonna summon a whole bunch of shit. In fact, Balieda, what can you summon? You can summon basic Rakshasas, but nobody cares about that. So yeah, you're gonna move over here to join the blood hunting. Now, the dragon may go and try to raid us. We're claiming this throne. We're claiming the Throne of Pestilence, so that will give us more death, but also more death income. And we can use that death income to summon more units, which will be great. We need better death mages. I haven't renamed this guy yet. I'll think of a dumb name for him pretty soon. We're also casting Revive King on repeat because we do have a lot of Soulless laying around, and I am definitely going to use them just as raiders, basically. We're going to have Mound Kings leading masses of Soulless / Long Dead, just charging into Satis' territory, taking provinces. I think that's the best way to do this. He's struggling to maintain his numbers, and he is being attacked again by Nazca, so he can't afford to keep his troops and his king, his dragon, and mages down here trying to fight me off, especially not when I pull back. And so we'll just kind of raid through these provinces for a little bit and wait for our opportunity while we mass up summons, which should happen quite quickly. Reanimating more Soulless up here to get more patrollers, and yeah, that's the turn. In terms of research, we're 2 turns out from Alteration 5, and then we're going to run down to Blood 6. Once we hit Blood 6 and get our Dakini, then we'll be in business in a big fucking way. We will also want Conjuration, because we want to get summon air elementals at Conjuration 5, and Vitalas. Vitalas are pretty decent summons. So that's the plan. Kind of a short turn, but that's okay. Not a whole lot special is happening. So thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on turn 39. I'm excited. I think we're back in the game. We're actually in the game, and we're about to take that throne. So in terms of throne points, we're gonna be up there. And if we can get the Throne of the Sun, it would give us Order +1, which sucks, but it would also give us growth and some fire gems. If that's the Throne of the Sun, then I would take it. If it's something else, then I'd absolutely take it. Like the Throne of Sorcery, oh baby, oh that would be amazing. But yeah, so we'll try to take that throne sometime soon, question mark. Not sure how soon that's actually going to be, but we'll try. And we're just moving our scouts a little bit further into enemy territory. We're actually going to push over this way. Alright, so thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on turn 39. Okay, so couple of interesting things this turn. First of all, battle in Sleepy Wolds. Old Mictlan took an independent province, which is over here near my southern border. A couple of battles against Satis, and I was attacked by barbarians. Once again, I've lost this province now twice to specifically barbarian attacks. I'm sort of getting pissed off about it. This province is not important to me. Like, it doesn't actually hurt me. It's just a random fucking useless swamp in the middle of my territory that has now been taken again by barbarians, and I'm fucking sick of it. In any case, 2 battles against Sitis, both demonstrating Sitis's powerful grasp of his simple and effective skill spam technique. So this is quite a large army. A lot of chariots, bunch of heavy cavalry, bunch of undead, led by a bunch of Sauromancers who do the skill spam thing. They're all death 4, except for this guy, he's death 3. And they cast Horde of Skeletons. That's what they do. My army is very small compared to theirs, and was just a raiding force, so, like, losing it doesn't hurt me too badly. But, still, he did anticipate my move, which, bully on him, good for him. But he can generate just really a lot of skeletons. Like, this is at the point where you need a countermeasure to infinite skeletons effectively in order to stop that. And, of course, in Mareni, his army just kind of rolled forward and took the province back. This actually isn't much of an army, this is just the troops that were left in his fort, led by the dragon. If I'd left my army here and fought these guys, I might have been able to take them with reinforcements from the fort, but I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like taking that fight and potentially losing even more. So, in Quedra, we lost some income. In Digmore, we lost Dominion, as, like, fucking happens. We also claimed the Throne of Pestilence. So our death income is now 10 per turn, which isn't awful. It's our only non-awful gem income. All our other incomes are just dog shit. So, you know, our total income right now is 22 gems per turn, which on turn 39 is bad. Really, really bad. But, I mean, this game has in general been really, really bad. So, like, why would anything change now, am I right? In any case, so these troops are moving forward here. I think some troops from the fort actually went up here, and definitely some troops from these other forts came over this way. Mechlin seems to have just fucked off. Mechlin seems to not be pressing the attack at all. Nazca is still fighting Sitis, but I'm not sure how vigorously. I need to get back in touch with them. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm casting Instant Army, just add blood. We're casting Crossbreeding 4 times. We're summoning Asrapas and Rakshasa Warriors a total of 5 times with the non-stop pop-pop, damn right, stainless steel, real, and go hard. Down here, we've got I'll Do It Again and these tiers, because if you want to fight me, you gotta fight these tiers. Both Cloud Trapezing into Rasenna. They are both high air randoms. These tiers in particular hit the jackpot. He is actually air 4, and I do want to keep him safe, but if necessary, I can Cloud Trap him right back out of this fortress if I have to. And they're both going in there because they're high air mages. They can cast Seeking Arrow, which does a pretty good job killing Sauromancers, especially when there are not many non-Sauromancer commanders. 4 Sauromancers, 1 Lizard Lord here, Dragon, Empoisoner, High Priest, and 3 Sauromancers there. So Sauromancers are well over 50% of the enemy commanders. Throwing Seeking Arrows into this army will kill Sauromancers fairly reliably, and killing Sauromancers is absolutely worthwhile. We're also moving in a couple of Earth Mages. Now, the thing here to keep in mind is that we may well have Empoisoners coming after us. So what we need to start doing is we have to start assigning bodyguards, which I haven't done yet, but I need to do. And we just assign primarily demons to guard commander. You can have that one. We're just going to assign 5 bodyguards per important commander, so that they don't get empoisoned to death. We can assign you 1, and then we'll assign other bodyguards to our more minor mages who aren't quite as important, but just having bodies commonly is enough. They're undisciplined, unfortunately, which means they cannot guard commander, so that's a huge bummer, and I think all of the foul spawn are undisciplined. Pretty much. Yeah, all foul spawn are undisciplined. Okay, that's fair. Let's give you like 5... I mean, 5 Hatavi infantry are barely going to stop. Well, they might stop an Empoisoner. Not likely, but it's possible. 5 Bandar would be more likely to stop an Empoisoner. In any case, and hopefully, if they are attacked in an assassination, hopefully my Yoginis will think to cast Swarm at some point. I am giving them nature gems, so, you know, maybe. You never know. We do have a Skull Staff. We also have some more Sanguine Dousing Rods. We can continue, rather, expanding our blood economy. with you gentlemen. But right now, it's looking a little bit ugly. All these guys are still blood hunting in Cormark, which is definitely the hunt, the yield is slowing on account of there being relatively few people here. Probably a couple more turns, and I will move them to another province. Now, it's hard to get to Hoburgdorf because these fucking barbarians are in the way. So when I do that, what'll happen is I'll just mass migrate a ton of undead up into List to overwhelm those guys with numbers. Speaking of numbers, I have a lot of undead in Aprisia. So we're going to send Oketer down there to get that. We are casting Revive King on repeat now, just to get the leaders necessary to control our vast hordes of Soulless that we're building up. Soulless are bad fighters, but even bad fighters can be useful sometimes, under the right circumstances. So, that's our plan. Over here, we're summoning like 3, 4, that's like 100 units, and then the Azrapas, Rakshasa Warriors, 9 Azrapas, and 10 Rakshasa Warriors, so we're summoning a pretty thick and beefy army here. And I think, if Satis tries to attack us, I think we can withstand the siege. If nothing else, we can kind of trade commander deaths by throwing seeking arrows from commanders who are being bodyguarded. And we can also, if we want, forge some gear for them, which might be a really good idea. These guys over here can forge earth gear. I can also forge air gear if I need to. Girdles of Might would not be terrible. Neither would Amulets of the Dead actually would also not be bad at all. So why don't I forge? I'm going to forge some Amulets of the Dead and really and crank up the skill spam a little bit, I think, because I have some death gems to blow. And if I get a, you know, like a Kalamuka reanimating Long Dead with an Amulet of the Dead, that could be fairly effective. Or a few Kalamukas, more to the point. Oh boy, it is just a bad situation, but hey, what else is new, right? It's Accidental Ascension, these things happen. We have at least gotten out a whole bunch of Raksharajas, and we're prepared to stand and make a fight of things. We will hit Alteration 5 next turn, which will give us Wooden Warriors. It will also give us a bunch of other spells that don't really matter all that much. Maws of the Earth is the one that could matter. Maws of the Earth is a spell that those Earth Mages we're moving over can cast. We can also cast Phantasmal Army pretty effectively. Our Air 3 guy can cast this with 2 gems, and our Air 4 guy can cast it with 1 gem. And it summons just a whole bunch of Phantasmal Warriors, which are pretty neat. Beyond that, we don't get a whole... I mean, that's what we get out of Alteration 5. After that, it's Blood Magic level 6 to try and get Dakinis. That may be too greedy right now. I may need to swap to Evocation so that I can get Storm and Storm Power, because I have enough Raksharajas to actually make that relatively useful, or Conjuration to try and get Conjuration 5 and full-size air elementals. That's probably the play. So let's do that. Meanwhile, down over here, DMX is defending, but I'm actually going to have him search for magic sites real quick. Our Palisade will be done next turn. And, I actually have a worry about this. He has map move 28. Yeah, I actually can't do that. DMX needs to run. My worry, as you may have figured out, was that this dragon would just hop over here and try to assassinate DMX. Which, well, actually, you know what? DMX is immortal, but it would take him 3 months to reform, which would be a huge bummer. But would he site search? He would site search first, wouldn't he? I'm just gonna run away with him for right now. We're just gonna hop back into the capital and make do. So that'll be the turn 39. I'll see y'all on turn 40. The army over here, I think Satis may not quite realize that I can spawn such a huge army so quickly. Now most of it is garbage. I mean, crossbreeding gives you just absolute dog shit units 99% of the time. But it's bulk, and then I have the Demon Sacreds to back it up, and I can churn out a lot of Demon Sacreds. I'm getting some of those Rakshasa Warriors, even though they're a lot more expensive, just for their anti-monster clubbing potential. And then after that, it's gonna be cheaper demons. Basically, we're gonna go for the Azrapas because they're relatively cheap. or possibly even standard Rakshasa, because honestly the thing I need right now is just numbers. I just have to have enough of them that they can chew through the skeletons he summons, because I don't have a better counter to the skill spam. And now I could form a small communion and skill spam back if I researched enchantment 5, but I don't feel like that would really help me. Like, I don't think that would make me notably more effective. I'll tell you what would make me more effective. Bloodletting. Bloodletting is an excellent skill spam counter. The only problem is you can only really cast it once or twice, and it hurts all your own troops too. It doesn't affect the undead. Okay, the reason I say this is an excellent skill spam counter, it doesn't affect the skeletons themselves, right? But it does affect the Sorrowmancers. And the Sorrowmancers only have 10 HP. They're just regular human HP mages. Well, all of my mages are monkeys, so the weakest of my mages has 16 health, and is relatively better defended against skill spam. On top of that, I can easily communion up and drop, like, regeneration on my communion slaves. And, like, my Raksharajas don't give a shit about bloodletting. They have 36 hit points. It's not going to kill them. My Sacreds, my Demons, all have, you know, fairly high hit points, so bloodletting is very unlikely to kill them. And bloodletting will send all my Asrapas berserk immediately, which is actually quite useful. So, like, bloodletting in my armies doesn't hurt me that bad. It might occasionally kill a mage. It will kill some of my blood slaves. It hurts Satis more, because it can actually kill Sorrowmancers outright or do crippling damage that causes them afflictions much more reliably than it does to my mages. So the skeletons? No, it doesn't kill the skeletons, but it might take care of the mages behind them. And then the skeletons, if the skeletons aren't being supported by a constant flow of skill spam, then my demons can clean them up pretty easily because they're not very strong. On top of that, of course, I can also just spam banishments. Banishment spam works fine. With my Raksharajas if they don't have better spells to be casting. So, there are ways and means. There are ways to do this, but I just have to kind of have the resources and the time to build up a counter. I don't think he's going to attack me. It would be foolish of him to attack this fort. He might take this province and this province. He might jump into Quedra. He might start raiding me very aggressively. I wouldn't put it past him to do any of those things. But basically, in order to maintain my economic power, quote-unquote economic power, all I have to do actually is keep my blood hunting provinces intact. Because the blood hunting provinces are what's important to me right now, is the blood slaves. So, I think I can fight this battle at least if I have allies coming in. If Mictlan and Nazca are fighting as well, I think I can pressure Satis sufficiently to keep from losing outright. But you know what? Even if I can't, that's fine, because this is the part of the game that I really need to practice. This is the part of the game that I'm worst at, is the part of the game where I'm actually fighting big mid-game battles against other players. My battle scripting is subpar, certainly compared to the rest of my skill. And I've talked about this before. In fact, Eric Tams, in a comment a little while ago that I never responded to, unfortunately, sorry Eric, suggested like bringing in another player to critique my scripting. I have trouble thinking of a good way to do that. Mainly I just ask questions on Discord and try to put it into practice, and I don't do that nearly as much as I should, just because, well, to be honest, I'm busy. I don't really have the time to devote that kind of effort to just improving my game, which is sad, but it is getting better with practice. And definitely, the thing that I need to do most is work harder at realizing what counters my opponent will deploy and making a realistic comparative analysis of what they have versus what I have. Because, unfortunately, and this is the thing that gets me in a lot of trouble in Dominions a lot, I am naturally extremely optimistic. And so very often I'll look at a battle, I'll go like, I can take it. My troops can take it. I've got lots of forces here. I've got all kinds of like special abilities and shit. I can absolutely take this. And that is not actually true a lot of the time. A lot of the time, that's not an accurate assessment, and I end up losing for it. It doesn't hurt me so bad in games like Ultracore, where, like, in Ultracore, you have a numeric number. You have a numeric number. Yeah, I word's good. In Ultracore, you have a numeric value for the strength of your fleets, And worst comes to worst, you can actually add those numbers up and look at the comparative fleets and say, well, no, I probably won't win this one. Or, yeah, I'll probably win this one. You know, assuming all else being equal. And fleet composition and stuff like that affects that to a degree, but the firepower value is relatively accurate. There's no such thing as a firepower value in Dominions. It's all something that you have to calculate in your head. And I have trouble with that valuation. And that's kind of the core of my issue. The reason I lose battles is that I take fights that I shouldn't take because I don't realize when I'm, or how badly I'm outmatched. So it's definitely something that I have to work on. But in any case, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 40, and we'll find out what the situation really is. In the meantime, I'm going to get in contact with my theoretical allies and figure out if this war against Satis is actually really happening on their part, or if I'm just the lizard sacrifice. If I am, at the very least, I think I can drag it out for a while. But never fear, DMX will be victorious. All will fall before his might, and the world will know the power of his rap. So, see you next time.